Hello, my name is Carmen Helena Téllez and I'm a conductor. I would like to introduce you to a new opera by Mexican composer Gabriela Ortiz and her brother, artist Rubén Ortiz Torres. The new work, really an experimental video opera called Únicamente La Verdad, was recently premiered at the close of the Indiana University Music Festival 2008 at the Buskirk Chumley Theatre in Bloomington. The work was directed by stage director Chia Patiño, with visuals by Rubén Ortiz Torres and Konstantinos Mavromichalis. The soloists and chorus of the Indiana University Contemporary Vocal Ensemble and the Festival Chamber Orchestra, along with sound designers Rodrigo Segal and Francisco Colasanto, worked under my direction. This is what it's all about. Gabriela Ortiz tells us that the opera started as an exploration of the famous ballad Contrabando y Traición.
In Contrabando y Traición, the story is telling that this couple, Camelia La Tejana and Emilio Varela, crossed the border from Tijuana to Los Angeles. They hide the weed in the tires of the car. Then, as soon as they get into Los Angeles, they exchange the weed for money. They get paid, but suddenly Emilio Varela says to her, "Well, you are not my love anymore." He betrayed her and she gets really angry and she ended up killing him. Contrabando y Traición was a very important corrido because it was telling the truth. This is not a traditional opera in a sense that the way we are telling the story is not linear. This opera is built by a series of vignettes, and each vignette is telling us a side of this mythical character.
The vignettes are based on pre-existing excerpts of newspaper articles, television interviews, and even internet blogs. The opera begins with the mysterious suicide of a certain Eleazar Pacheco Moreno, who placed his head on the tracks as a train was approaching the station in the border town of Ciudad Juárez. The real-life event was documented by the tabloid Alarma, which claimed that witnesses had seen the victim with a woman they called Camelia La Tejana.
The libretto, it's based on real events. It's based on the media. Since we found this news in the Alarma, this tabloid magazine, about this person killing himself because of Camelia La Tejana, we start searching about this mythical character. Is she still alive? Is a real person? Camelia La Tejana is this mythical character that became very famous by this corrido singing by Los Tigres del Norte, Contrabando y Traición, smuggling and betrayal. The corrido is very famous because it's the first corrido talking not only about a woman that killed her lover, but also talking about border issues, very important border issues.
So the story follows the quest for the real Camelia La Tejana. Along with actual events, we also find real-life characters, such as César Güemes, a distinguished journalist of the prestigious newspaper La Jornada, who published an interview on the subject. He can be understood almost as a metaphor for the composer and the librettists themselves, seeking to find the truth and exploring the myth of Camelia La Tejana in Mexican culture.
There is another interview also by Elijah Walt to Jorge Hernández, who is the leader of Los Tigres del Norte, the famous norteño band in Mexico City and in the whole country that made famous Contrabando y Traición.
Gabriela is referring to one of the most striking elements in the opera, the inclusion of excerpts from the book by the distinguished scholar Elijah Wilde, titled Narco Corrido, Journey into the Music of Drugs, Guns and Guerrillas, where he interviews the composer of Contrabando y Traición, Ángel González, and its maximum exponent, El Tigre Jorge Hernández. However, the book is only one of the elements picked out of its conventional context to be inserted with new meaning in the opera. Through different scenes, the opera explores the power of the media to decide on what is truth of real events. What we see instead is that many women in Mexico and in Texas have assumed the identity of Camelia La Tejana. They are all fascinating explorations of the passion and fear that women can awaken, but as the different Camelias appear, we are also experiencing evolving obsessions in Mexico's popular culture.